Hello, public opinion aficionados, and welcome to Rasmussen Reports. And you're not going to want to miss this one. You are going to want to hang on to every last second of the video. And please like and subscribe if you like the topic we're going to talk about. That's election integrity, our favorite topic, and something so huge happened, we just couldn't go into the weekend without covering it. And I don't know, it doesn't look like the Federal Reserve is going to be audited anytime soon, but it looks like we do have something that could be happening. But let's rewind the clock a little bit and just tell everybody, if you're just catching up, election integrity is something that only Rasmussen Reports polled on. Literally the only pollster in the entire country. Not a single one would go out there and say, well, hey, was there cheating in the 2020 election? And that's because the establishment wanted so badly to get Donald Trump, the only anti-establishment president we've ever had, out of office, that they literally conducted the biggest psychological operation in the history of, I think, our modern world. That's right, the big lie. But did it work? No, it didn't work, because overwhelmingly, the polling showed that increasingly after the 2020 election, more and more people thought that there were problems with it. We polled on this so many times. I've done massive videos going into all of the dozens and dozens of times we've had questions on this topic. And remember, this is the one that landed us on the GEC's top 50 list of most dangerous Twitter accounts on Twitter. Now, this is out of April 2023, just a random one I picked, one of the ones that we talk about less. Which is more important, making it easier for everyone to vote, 39%, or making sure that there is no cheating in elections, 60%? And that's kind of interesting, because basically the Democrats have made it so this idea of enfranchisement has become sacrosanct. It's literally if one black person doesn't get to vote, then there can't be anything. No IDs, no rules, no boundaries at all. Everybody overwhelmingly thought that mail-in voting made it easier to cheat, not harder, 53% to 13%. How likely is it that cheating affected not just the 2020 election, but the outcome of some races in last year's midterm elections? 60% said likely, 37% said very likely. When we asked this question about 2020, the first time around, I think we got a 48 number. The highest we ever saw was 66%. So Americans, by more than a 2-to-1 margin, said that cheating affected the outcome of the 2020 elections. How likely is it that state and federal officials are ignoring evidence of widespread election fraud? This is the key pivotal question, because still today, what will you hear ubiquitously from the mainstream media? No evidence was ever presented. Well, what they fail to specify is that means that no court ever admitted evidence because of standing. It was never given a shot. 37% think it's likely that state and federal officials are ignoring evidence of widespread election fraud. Another 25% somewhat. So that's 62% of America to only 33%. So again, like basically another 2-to-1 margin here. Overwhelmingly, people are like, our elections are messed up. And not only that, people aren't even looking into them. Incredible. Here's some more polling just from the spring. The Trump administration promised to release evidence of widespread coordinated 2020 election fraud, but have made little progress in doing so. How important is it that this evidence get into the public domain? Big number here, 71%, 47% very important, only 13% said not at all important. And look at the Democrat numbers. A majority of Democrats, 63%, say that it's important. 46% of Democrats important, because they think too, a lot of them thought that cheating happened in the 2024 election. Only 21% of Democrats say not at all important. It's a 75% number among Republicans, not that much more. And overwhelmingly independents too, 73%. People think there are cheating in elections. It's bipartisan. And they wanted the evidence that Donald Trump promised that we haven't really seen. We really have not seen. We've heard Tulsi Gabbard say some stuff. We've seen some illusions, basically pictures by Ed Martin of people. And we've also seen this. This is kind of a big one. Ted has been doing a really good job tweeting on this topic, but just a few weeks ago, Peter Tickton went on with Emerald Robinson and told the world that yes, he alleged that yes, elections are stolen by Venezuelan voting machine companies from Serbia with the aid of China. Pretty wild stuff. This was a filing in the court case of Tina Peters, where a alleged Venezuelan whistleblower came out and gave a 30-page document that outlines exactly how the steal happens and who is involved. This is part of the official records of a court proceeding. And my understanding is that this deposition was made sworn under oath, which means it's not a good thing if they catch you lying. And not only that, there was an interview with a man named Rich Pizzello, who talked about being more than one whistleblower, a group of them working with a bunch of individuals together on an effort to bring the scope of the 2020 steal and the attempted 2024 steal to light. But then there was this that just happened. I mean, this article is from yesterday, but this news was a couple days old now at this point. We haven't covered it yet. And this is from Wired. So obviously it's going to be a bunch of leftist garbage in here. One Republican now controls a huge chunk of U.S. election infrastructure. Former GOP operative Scott Leindecker just bought Dominion Voting Systems, giving him ownership of voting systems used in 27 states. Overwhelmingly the swing states as well. Isn't it weird how easy that is to happen though? How does this happen? How does companies who are so integral to our electoral systems just change hands like this? But election experts have no idea what to think. The news last week that Dominion Voting Systems was purchased by the founder and CEO of No Inc., a Missouri-based maker of electronic poll books, has left election integrity activists confused over what, if anything, this could mean for voters and the integrity of U.S. elections. So now all of a sudden, the left is concerned about the election integrity. So now all of a sudden, the left is concerned about election integrity. You know what was happening over the last 4 years is they were just pointing to Dominion's website and saying, trust them, bro. Look, would this face lie to you? They say that elections are safe and fair and these machines are unhackable and not connected to the internet. And even though most Americans do think that machines are connected to the internet, you were expected not to believe that. You were expected to buy the establishment lie. The company acquired by Scott Leindecker, a former Republican Party operative, they always use that word, an election director in Missouri before founding No Inc., said in a press release that he was rebranding Dominion, which has headquarters in Canada and the United States, under the name Liberty Vote, in a bold and historic move to transform and improve election integrity in America. Well, I can get behind that. And to distance the company from false allegations made previously by President Donald Trump, just Donald Trump, and his supporters that the company had rigged the 2020 presidential election to give the win to President Joe Biden. Well, they were pretty handily cleaning up in these lawsuits. Pretty sure Sidney Powell got in a major lawsuit that she lost because of this systems. Isn't that interesting? Why would they need to distance themselves from these false allegations if they're winning these massive lawsuits and raking in all this money? And how did this small little company buy Dominion Voting Services? Why did it go for such a low amount? My understanding is that this company had fewer than $20 million a year in revenue. How could they afford this? Is there somebody else backing this? I don't know. The Liberty release said that the rebranded company will be 100% American owned. That's a change. That it will have a paper ballot focus, that's a change. That leverages hand-marked paper ballots, that's definitely a change. And it will prioritize facilitating third-party auditing. Now, viewers of this channel know that my suspicions are that the reason that we have electronic voting machines that don't rely on paper ballots, it's way more lucrative for Republican and Democrat legislators to have these major voting machine companies, wet their beaks a little bit. And I'm not the only one with those suspicions. Even Grok admits that these companies are known pretty well for financially incentivizing local districts in order to adopt these voting machines and make massive purchases, like that whole situation in Louisiana that we looked at not that long ago. It's committed to third-party auditing and domestic staffing and software development. Oh, that's kind of interesting. The press release provided no details, however, to explain what this means in practice. So let me get this right. An American buys a non-American company that's involved in American elections and says we're going to make it more American and focus on more integrity. And the left is freaking out. Dominion, the second leading provider of voting machines in the U.S., whose systems are used in 27 states, including the entire state of Georgia, has developed its software in Canada and Belgrade, Serbia. Interesting. For 2 decades, a search on LinkedIn shows numerous programmers and other workers in Serbia who claim to be employed by the company. So Wired is alleging that American workers and American code are worse than Serbian code implemented by a Canadian company with whistleblower alleged components from the Chinese Communist Party. The Liberty Statement does not say whether the company plans to rewrite code developed by these foreign workers, which would potentially involve rewriting hundreds of thousands of lines of code. Why does it take that much code? Or whether the company will move foreign developers to the US or replace them with American programmers. I hope they do. A Liberty official who agreed to speak on the condition that they not be named told Wire only that Leyendecker is committed to 100% domestic staffing and software development. You love to see it. That would be great. Wouldn't that be great if every company in America committed to that? Philip Stark, a professor of statistics at UC Berkeley and a longtime election integrity advocate, said that Liberty's assurance about domestic only workers is a red herring. If the claim is that this somehow is a security measure, it isn't, because programmers based in the US also may be interested in undermining or altering election integrity. Well, yeah, especially if you hire H-1Bs. But it's like, oh, well, we can't ensure that this action is going to make things better, so we obviously can't take this action. That's a stupid argument. With regard to third-party audits mentioned in the press release, a Liberty official told Wire, this means the company will conduct a third-party top-to-bottom independent review of Dominion software and equipment in a timely manner and will work closely with federal and state certification agencies and report any vulnerabilities. While the clock is ticking, they have about 3 weeks until the special elections in November. Man, wouldn't that be wild if this somehow makes a surprise in Virginia and New Jersey? I don't know, man. That would be wild. The company didn't say when this review would occur, but a Liberty representative told Axios it would happen ahead of next year's midterm elections, and the company would rebuild or retire machines as needed. So this stuff takes time. But Stark and other election experts believe this is unrealistic and appears to be aimed at just making the company look good to right-wing critics. Well, why would the right wing like that? No, fix it. There isn't time between now and 2026 to design, test, and certify new voting equipment. Oh, maybe we just need to take it out of operation and put paper ballots in. Federal and state testing and certification is expensive and can take months, depending on what changes a company makes to its voting system. Well, I guess they're going to drag their feet. And many states have legal limitations on how close to an election updates to voting systems can occur. Yeah, but then they'll also allow non-certified software to be used in elections and then throw people in jail who try and bring that to light. It's kind of weird. Yeah. It goes on and on and on. Rife with speculation, paper chase, blah, blah, blah. They're going to try and undermine paper ballots and say how horrible it is, even though like everywhere in the world uses it. There's going to be a lot of concern trolling and, oh, this evil Republican is in charge of our elections now, even though many people think that actually the Venezuelan Maduro regime is. Pretty wild. But this is the important news we're covering today. Just 3 hours ago, this article came out. Smartmatic indicted in foreign bribery case, possibly endangering its lawsuits against Fox News and Giuliani. This out of CNN. The Justice Department on Thursday filed foreign bribery charges against Smartmatic. I thought these companies never bribed people. The voting technology company that is suing Fox News and other prominent pro-Trump figures for defamation over their promotion of 2020 election lies. The bribery and money laundering charges against Smartmatic arose from an existing case filed last year against some of its current and former executives, including its founder. The indictment relates to an alleged $1 million bribe paid to the top election official in the Philippines to secure lucrative contracts for the country's 2016 election. So we're talking about an election that was 11 years ago. The indictment doesn't include any allegations of voter fraud or election rigging against Smartmatic, CNN was quick to add. The news could be catastrophic for Smartmatic, potentially weakening its hand in pending 2020 election-related defamation lawsuits against Fox News. The Fox News host turned U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, ex-Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani, and MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell. I'll have to text Mike Lindell and say, Congratulations. The charges could undermine Smartmatic's arguments that its reputation has been damaged solely by these pro-Trump figures and their brazen lies about the 2020 election. You know, I remember 2020, and obviously some people just listened to Trump. They just listened to Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani and said there was fraud. But like, are we forgetting the whole like 18 out of 19 bellwethers and all of the counties, that the fewer and fewer counties going to Democrats, Trump winning more of them, the ridiculous out of nowhere, like multiple sigma miss and turnout that couldn't possibly have been related to all of these forced mail-in ballots that got printed. Like literally 1 in 5 people in the swing states said that they got an extra mail-in ballot at their house. So really, Rudy Giuliani's lies are the reason that people don't trust the election industry? It's absolutely BS. And look, now CNN is saying that it's just Donald Trump seeking revenge on his political opponents. President Donald Trump has successfully pushed in recent weeks to prosecute his opponents, but the underlying case against Smartmatic executives was brought by the Biden-era Justice Department, and career prosecutors endorsed Thursday's new indictment, according to court filings. Unbelievable. Wow. Man, if the Biden administration is going after voting machines, I would love to see what the Trump administration does. So this is wild. Like, I don't think that you can successfully exist as a voting machine company if you are literally indicted and convicted of bribery. Not a good look, because that really undermines trust in the system. Not only that, I think what we're going to see out of the Dominion people, again, I don't think that that sale could happen unless it was like basically a fire sale of the company at parts. And why would they do that? It's in 27 states. It's an especially lucrative industry because all of these people, because of the alleged bribery, are just slobbering over themselves to overspend on these machines that Americans think makes cheating easier. What are they going to show us? What are they going to release? How long until this happens? Are we going to see 12 months leading up to the 2026 election of the new Dominion Liberty voting system releasing all of the things that they uncovered that were packed in there by Venezuela and China? That would be awfully wild. But the winds of change appear to be blowing, and hopefully the Trump administration has taken this lesson to heart about accountability, because it's not just these new indictments. It's not just the fact that just over the last few weeks, we're looking at the entire system of elections differently. This is going to wake a lot of Americans up. Now, there's new posturing out of the Trump administration like this.
Beyond those who are already charged, do you think you've seen other crimes that might eventually get referred to justice?
Yes, we are looking at so many different leads on criminal activity by those who are in positions of power. And we're not going to stop until every single one of those is fully exposed. The documents are provided either to Congress or the courts of law, and make every referral we can into the Department of Justice. Excellent. These indictments that you've seen and the ones that you're going to see coming up here in this near future are just the beginning. But I have to remind the audience one thing. Everybody's like, it's 7 months. What have you guys been doing? Yeah. Well, they spent 20 years building this diseased temple of corruption.
That's a very good point.
I'm going to pull the whole thing down. I'm going to bring the whole diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's got to be biblical.
It takes a little bit of time to defeat it and beat it down. And I'm not asking you to trust me. I'm asking you to look at the work the men and women of the FBI have done so far in these 7-8 months, and just imagine what we're going to do come the year end.
Wow. Diseased temple of corruption. And this is nothing. Just wait till you see what we're going to see before the year end. Pretty bold statement. Now, let's just whip out some Google Trends. I love going here. And this is something that I was looking at quite a while back in the spring. This is defense attorney searches in the District of Columbia. And we had a nice and light summer where nobody was really concerned. But all of a sudden, just in the last week or two, it looks like people are starting to panic in Washington, D.C. again. Got to get those numbers up. We got to get more criminal defense attorneys employed. They should be the most lucrative people in Washington, D.C. They should be rolling in money right now. So if you like criminal accountability for scummy deep state actors, if you want to see this entire rotten temple of corruption pulled to the ground, make sure you click like and subscribe to our channel, Rasmussen_poll on YouTube, and also go check out Rasmussen_rewind. We could really use the help there too. We are about to get monetized over there, and we just started the channel like a month and a half ago. So that's pretty great. Love to see you there. Love to see you on our streams, which will be at the very least, I promise, Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern weekly, and maybe a couple of surprises here and there. And of course, we try to put out at least 2 or 3 videos of really solid content every week. But again, we are an independent pollster. Nobody pays us to try to help either party win. We are looking out for you. And let me tell you, there are not too many people in that business. So please help support us. Subscribe at RasmussenReports.com as a reader. And follow us on Twitter, Rasmussen_poll and at Honest Pollster. Hope to see you there. If you've learned something, make sure to like the video and subscribe. Follow us on X at Rasmussen_poll and myself at Honest Pollster. You can watch our videos on YouTube at Rasmussen_poll and Rasmussen_rewind, and on Rumble at Rasmussen Reports. We stream multiple times a week on Twitter, Facebook, Rumble, YouTube, and Getter. Thanks for watching.